Here we go, episode 166 of The Hardline, our favorite episode of the year. It's the NFL preview show. Michael, Merlo, JM with you, JM Masiri with you. And before we even get to the season preview, we have a massive trade that broke about, 3 hours ago. Micah Parsons to the Packers. I mean, Giants fans everywhere, Eagles fans everywhere are thanking God that Jerry Jones is not dead yet. So that's big. JM, season's upon us. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I called you before the show and said, thank God that this happened before we started recording because this would be awful news to miss. One thing I got to say about this whole trade, we'll go right into it. I can't believe that I've seen Cowboys fans saying, F you, Micah Parsons, this and that. If there's one person to be mad at, it's Jerry Jones. I mean, this guy just traded away a franchise cornerstone for 2 first-round picks that are most likely going to be in the 20s, quite possibly the 30s, depending on what the Packers do over these next couple of years. And Kenny Clark, who, don't get me wrong, Kenny Clark has been a great pro, but he's about to enter his 30s, and he's coming off of a so-so year when we're so used to him playing almost all pro caliber football.
Yeah, it's, I've seen some people on Twitter saying, not overreacting to the deal, saying, well, maybe it is better for them in the future. And I can't really get there because you mentioned it. This guy impacts the game more so than any of the players. And CeeDee Lamb is one of the 3 best receivers in the league. And Dak is a franchise quarterback. But this guy wrecks games. And if there was one guy to pay on this team and keep a Cowboy for the rest of his life, it was Micah Parsons.
Do you remember those conversations we were having literally in these seats, I don't know, a year, going on maybe 2 years ago, where we were saying, you got to get Dak, CeeDee, and Micah under contract. The odds that you get all 3 of those guys extensions are probably pretty tough, so you got to decide which one you're going to let go. We debated it. Obviously, Dak is probably the most unrealistic one because it's the quarterback, but looking back now, I know CeeDee Lamb is a phenomenal player, but personally, as a Cowboys fan, if you asked me, I would have rather held on to Parsons than CeeDee Lamb.
Well, here's the issue I have because you paid Dak, right, and you have to have a quarterback in this league to be even relevant, so, and especially if you're the Cowboys, so they had to pay Dak. I don't know. He just screwed everything up because he paid Dak at the wrong time and paid him way too much money. As good as Dak is, he shouldn't be the highest paid or second highest paid quarterback in the entire league. And then he waited too long with CeeDee. And he waited too long here, and it's not like they got ripped off in terms of the contract because they're not keeping him.
It's almost like it all started from when they gave Zeke that contract. Like it was just a domino effect of like, okay, here come the poorly timed and bad contracts. They should have never done that with Zeke. It felt like they put a pressure on themselves to get it done with Dak. There were rumors that Dak was going to leave. They get it done, whatever. The CeeDee situation, like it was never... They never got ahead of the curve, right? They never decided to get it done before the rumors sparked up and all the controversy started. It was always controversial. And again, whose shoulders does that end up going on? That's Jerry Jones.
But now look at this, okay? Because you weren't winning the Super Bowl this year. You're not winning the Super Bowl next year. And now you have a quarterback who is getting up there in age, being paid, $40-50 million a year. You have CeeDee Lamb, who is exciting and he's great, and he'll sell tickets and you'll sell his jerseys. Great. But what is it for? You're paying all of these guys with not much of a future, not much young talent outside of Lamb and a couple of other guys. Yeah. I mean, they're going backwards.
They are going backwards. And you looked at this team coming into the season, and I mean, spoiler alert, I think neither of, especially after this trade, but even before the trade, neither of us had them making the playoffs.
Yeah, I did not.
You look at this roster coming into the season, this team isn't going to have much of a run game, right? Zach Martin retiring was a big blow for them, and they didn't really have much of a run game last year. They haven't had a run game since Zeke and Tony Pollard left this team. So now you end up having Jaden Blue, Javonte Williams, and a couple different guys in here, and that's really it. And now you have George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb. Okay, they'll throw the crap out of the ball. Hopefully the defense will be good, and you just traded your best defender. So there's not much left to play with here.
I really do feel bad for – I mean, I don't, and I do at the same time for these Cowboy fans, and especially the fans of Dallas. I mean, you lose Luka. You lose Soto, obviously, the Yankee Cowboy fans.
The Yankee Cowboy.
I mean, it's been a tough go. I've seen that one on Twitter a couple of times. But a tough go for those fans. But he's gone.
The Packers, are in a really good spot now, and that is a defense that is going to be really good. We thought Gary was going to be the piece that went in the trade, ends up being Kenny Clark, so you're going to have a rotation of some guys there on the edge that are going to be really, really good. And the secondary looks pretty solid. They had Edgerrin Cooper have a really good year last year. Like, there are guys on this defense that are going to be a problem. And we know that offense is going to be pretty solid.
Well, it was an underrated defense last year. They were a top 10 defense last year. And then you look coming into this season, what their biggest need was, I think, on defense and like what a weakness would be, and it was edge play.
Yeah.
And now they just got the best edge player in the entire league.
Quite literally, yes. So he's actually number 1 in odds for Defensive Player of the Year.
So there we go. Yeah. That good for the Packers.
Solid get. But this is good, like for a starving, not a starving fan base, but for a fan base that has been starving for a move like this, because we've heard the Packers mentioned in talks over the years. If you remember the rumors of the Giants trading OBJ, the Packers were always linked to that. And there's been some superstars that have been put out there, and the Packers' names have come up in those conversations, but they never seemed. It always seemed like a pipe dream to be that, okay, are they actually going to go through with this? And lo and behold, they did it.
Did you see last night there was a couple of fake reporters on Twitter? This would be Wednesday night, saying oh, there might be a trade. That guy Ricky, there's something Ricky on Twitter. He's like a joke, but he had basically had this. He basically had this, and then Kay Adams tweeted something very cliffhangery,
right? And
people were freaking out.
Yeah, this kind of seemed like these rumors were just coming off of Reddit threads, and that's really it. And then one of the more shocking notifications to get. I mean, we've seen big trades happen, but this one I really did not expect.
I didn't think they'd trade him. I really, truly did not believe.
And neither did I.
They would trade him.
And if they did, I thought it would be on Wednesday night, the night before the season starts, against their game against the Eagles, not a week before.
What a crap! What a shit show! I'll say it. What a shit show in Dallas. And
absolutely.
Wouldn't want it to happen at any other franchise.
Absolutely.
You know what's funny? Actually, there's a great documentary right now on Netflix. I think they just released it, about the Cowboys and Jones, the history of the Cowboys leading up to now.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
And I wanted to start it this weekend, and I never got to it. And a lot of people are looking at the past and now this trade and kind of correlating some things. I gotta watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I recommend it because I heard a lot of smart people recommend it.
There's a lot of ego involved in this trade.
Unbelievable.
I could imagine.
And but Jerry Jones calls him Michael every other. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
He calls him Michael, not Micah.
I think Jerry's got to pack it up.
He's got to pack it up. Yeah. And we're going to pack this conversation up.
Yeah.
We are going to move on to our season preview. We're going to give you the division winners, some records. Things will flash on the screen. It'll look nice and pretty.
Yeah.
We'll give you our seeds, go through the postseason, the conference championship, then the Super Bowl, and then some awards. Fun stuff. This is my favorite episode of the year. I love it.
Oh, easily.
And we're geniuses, so we're going to get at least 5% of this right, and if we do 10%, I'll give 10%. All right, Jam, kick off your division, the AFC East.
My division, yeah. All right, I'll just get right into it. I got the Buffalo Bills winning 13 games this year. I think they're going to have a very, very good season. The Patriots at 8-9, the Jets at 6-11, the Dolphins at 4-13. Obviously, that means I only have one team coming out of this division and entering the playoffs.
And you have somebody losing their job. Mike McDaniel would essentially be losing his job in this scenario.
Spoiler alert, I think Miami's, it's just going to get blown up and it's going to be ugly this year.
I agree. I have them pretty badly, and I'll just read mine off and then we'll discuss. Bills 13-4, Pats 8-9, Jets 7-10. A little bit more optimistic on your Jets than you are. And the Dolphins at 6-11. Can I say this? I don't get the Patriots hype.
Yeah, I think it's a bit much. I think it's a little Mike Vrabel glazing. I think we're doing a little off-season bias to say, okay, cool, we heard the Patriots mentioned a lot in free agency. Milton Williams, Stephon Diggs, there were some big signings going on there. But I don't know if you could take a team that had a top 5 pick in the draft and just leap them into a playoff team in a year.
And it's a weak division outside of the Bills, obviously, and they'll beat up on the Dolphins and the Jets. And the schedule's not bad. So I had them at 8 wins. I have them at around 7 or 8.
Yeah.
They don't have enough weapons. How good is that offensive line? I love Henderson. Good. Henderson looks great. Yeah. But I don't love the other weapons, and I think Diggs is washed up. I like May a lot. Yeah. But I think you're asking a lot from a kid coming into his second year now and not much around him. This is going to be a process, and I trust Vrabel to do that, but not in the first year.
Right. I think you'll see some positive effects from Vrabel being there right away, but I don't know if it's necessarily going to turn into a playoff appearance. I mean, you talked about the offensive line. That's a major concern. Listen, the Will Campbell pick, that wasn't a scrutinized pick. Like, that was a pretty widely agreed with pick. The only thing is this isn't a Joe Alt selection. This isn't some generational tackle that they picked, a Penei Sewell type of thing. There's discussion that Will Campbell might be too small to play tackle in the NFL and that he might have to move over to guard. So there's no guarantee that they're going to be able to protect Drake May right away. Even if they do, I think Campbell's going to take a little bit more time to develop as a left tackle. We could obviously be wrong, but that's the way that all the signs are pointing. So they just cut Cole Strange. Thanks, Bill Belichick. Really was off his rocker the last couple years, serving as coach/GM of the Patriots. What a draft pick that was.
That clip of McVay and Snead when they were doing the press conference
priceless.
went viral when he got cut. That's great.
Golden, that clip. So, I'm not sold on the wide receivers. I do think Stephon Diggs might have a little more juice left in him than some people think. I don't know if he'll necessarily be Bill's Stephon Diggs, but that receiver room is pretty lackluster, and the weapons overall just aren't great. So,
and we both have the Dolphins pretty poorly. I have the Bills as the one seed in the AFC. I think this team is they're loaded. And they've looked great in practice, according to a lot of reporters that have seen them. Obviously, that doesn't mean much, but I think they got their head on their shoulders here. McDermott's kind of settled things in terms of the heat around him. When you lose to the Bengals the way they did a few years back, that's a bad loss. That can't happen. But you get to the AFC Championship game every year now. You lose to one team. Eventually, you'll start to feel some heat for that if you continue to do that. But I think he's really quieted that down.
Yes, 100%. I have the Bills ending up as the 2 seed. I just think, just because of the way things play out, I don't have them getting that bye. But the Bills are primed to have another really good year. Josh Allen coming off that MVP season, the Here Bro Nam Award. We all know Lamar should have got it.
I'll let that comment slide. Anything on your Jets before we move off of the AFC
No, I mean,
East?
Listen, the Jets, this is no, I'm not trying to be, Mr. Doomsday. This is a team that's coming off a bad season where they won 5 games. At this 6-11, sure, a 1-game improvement after such a stinky season. That's because a stinky season was from the expectations. So the expectations are lower. This is going to be a multi-year process with Aaron Glenn. They don't have the quarterback in place yet. I don't believe in the quarterback field. I've made that known. You don't believe in the quarterback field. So this is going to take time to get done, but I think it'll be a solid 6 wins. You'll be looking forward into the next season saying, hey, some players developed here. Maybe we could go out and get a quarterback depending on what's going on in the draft class, and we can build on from there.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy for Glenn, but I like Glenn, and I think he's the right guy. And, you get 6 or 7 wins. You can go on to the next season and sell to ownership. Hey, we're moving in the right direction. They know this is going to be a long process. Yeah. And I like the leadership they have in place, and I think they're going to get them there. They're just got to get a quarterback, and we'll see if they can do that in the offseason.
And this is the last thing I'll say about the Jets. I think people are very excited about their run game, and yes, they do have a running quarterback now, and they have Allen and Hall, which is very nice to see, and the offensive line is supposed to be improved. The thing that makes me hesitant with this offense to be any sort of a threat, though, is they're going to be really one-dimensional because that passing game between Fields' abilities and outside of Garrett Wilson, you don't really have great pass catchers or even good pass catchers. I think they're going to struggle a lot. The box is going to get stacked up. Teams are going to make them throw it, and they're going to struggle.
Yeah. The AFC North. Very interesting division here because a lot of people will call this the best division in baseball. Division in football. I just read a notification that Kyle Schwarber has 4 home runs in a game right now, going for 5.
God.
So that's why I'm on baseball. Some people say this is the best division in football. I do not believe so. I'll lead this off. I got the Ravens at 12-5, the Bengals back in the playoffs at 11-6, the Steelers at 7-10, and the Browns at 5-12.
I would agree on your statement. I think the best division in football is in this conference, though, and I think we'll probably agree on that.
Yes.
I got the Ravens as the number 1 seed at 14-3. I have the Bengals making the playoffs at 12-5. The Steelers at 7-10. Mike Tomlin streak ends, and the Browns at a 2-15 record.
I got a little bit more confidence in that defense and a couple of the playmakers there. If they start Flacco for And I don't know how long they're going to actually start Flacco for. They're going to have to see what they have in Gabriel.
Yeah.
I cannot believe we're spending time on the Browns.
Yes.
But they're in it, obviously, with Shador, and they did draft Gabriel in the 3rd round before they drafted Shador. They have to see what they have. But if they started Flacco with a couple of the pieces they have and the defense and Garrett, I think they could win like 6 games.
Yeah, I just don't like not a good team, poverty franchise, off-season distractions. Usually isn't a great recipe for a successful season.
So they're picking Arch Manning.
They're picking Arch Manning.
He's not going to come out.
Yeah, he won't. No, he won't. I actually don't. We could have this conversation another day. I don't think he's coming out regardless.
Yeah, I think there would have to be like a prime franchise.
Yeah.
Like the Cowboys would have to be sitting there with the number 1 overall pick.
Then maybe they'll talk.
Obviously, the biggest thing we both have here is the Steelers at 7 wins. I'm not a believer. I don't think Aaron Rodgers can play savior. He clearly couldn't do it with the Jets, and it's 2 completely different franchises. I understand that, but I mean to look at the Steelers right now and say that they are much more talented than the Jets were when Aaron Rodgers got to New York. They're not that much more talented.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the weapons that Aaron Rodgers has this year is definitely worse than what he had with the Jets last year. I don't think there's any debating that when you had your selection of Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, some of these guys. Like, all you're looking at here is DK Metcalf, who I think is slightly overrated as a receiver. I mean, he can definitely do great things for your offense, but is he really that like $30+ million guy that they gave him? I don't really think so. And then the offense in general, like, I'm not a believer in Rodgers either at this point. He played a lot of like inefficient, like stat stuffing football last year. Mm-hmm. And one of the craziest things to me was when you talk about passing over the expected, which is basically a stat that measures, okay, if it's 3rd and 1, usually that's a running situation. If you pass the ball, that's a pass over expected. So pass over expected plays, the Bengals were number 1 in football last year at like 11 point something %. The Jets were 2nd. And a lot of that also comes, Aaron Rodgers likes his audibles. He likes audibling out at the goal line. He likes throwing his fade routes. And he just likes at this age, I think, playing a little bit of selfish ball because he thinks he knows best. So I think him and Arthur Smith might clash heads a little bit, and who knows how that offense is going to go with such a run-dominant team and Arthur Smith's play calling. I just don't think there's recipes for success there on offense. And this defense is aging. TJ Watt, I think, is a guy that, is still very good, but he's definitely on the wrong side of his career. Who knows what's going to happen with him? Same thing with guys like Cam Hayward and Jalen Ramsey. So I'm really not that high on the Steelers, and I don't think Tomlin can work any more magic.
Yeah, I think Tomlin being there is a good thing for Rodgers because he doesn't feel like he has to be the leader. He doesn't have to feel like he's the coach, essentially. He may have felt that with the Jets. I think that could work, but I just don't think they're talented. That's the issue. I don't think they're very talented.
Me neither.
And the Ravens, obviously, at the top. I mean, I don't have much to say on them. They're going to be great. They're going to be in the postseason. It's can they finish the job?
The only thing I'll say about the Ravens, it's like you look at some of the teams that killed the draft this year. You obviously will think the obvious ones as you go to the top. The Ravens had one of the best drafts that I saw out of a team. I loved their draft. You got Malachi Starks and Mike Green. Mike Green was such an amazing pick for them. I can't believe he fell to the 2nd round. We were doing our mock drafts. I think I had him going at like 13 or something like that. So a great pick to get a guy like that who's not going to have a lot of pressure on him to perform right away. He can learn in that defense. Yeah, I really like the Ravens this year. I seem to like them every year. Lamar is the best quarterback in the league, in my opinion, and I think they're going to be really, really good.
The Lamar glaze is insane.
Yeah. And then the Bengals.
Both have the Bengals back.
The Bengals are back. I think the Bengals have more optimism going into this year. A little less drama, even though at one point, Hendrickson, Shamar Stewart, we thought we're going down this road again.
It was different because it wasn't the diva wide receiver, but also the star wide receiver.
And I think by taking care of Chase and Higgins so early in the offseason, they saved themselves that headache.
Yeah. And Hendrickson, I mean, I think they always kind of felt they would bring him back.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to bring him back after this season. He's going to be a free agent. But they did, what's the word I'm looking for? Pay him. Yeah. I was going to say another word, but I just forgot.
Well, the nice
rewarded him. They rewarded him.
The nice thing is Joe Burrow's been playing a lot in the preseason because Joe Burrow and the Bengals in general have a tendency to get off to slow starts, and they're really trying to not do that this year.
Does something? You think that is going to help?
I think it will help.
Interesting. I don't know. I've gone back and forth on that because I saw that.
Can't hurt.
As long as nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, there you go.
The AFC South.
Yeah.
This is JM's second division in the AFC.
Yeah.
Lead it off, JM.
So I went out on a limb last year and said that the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to win this division. I was not high on the Texans. I didn't think they were going to have a good year. I was kind of right about the Texans because they didn't have the best regular season, but they kind of just won the division by default because the Jaguars won 4 games. So, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I am going to not get fooled twice, though. I'm picking the Jacksonville Jaguars to win the division again at 10-7. I got the Texans coming in second, 9-8. The Colts third, 8-9, and the Titans with I think, decent 6-11. Like, I don't think the Titans are going to be terrible. I like Cam Ward this year. I think he's going to have a pretty solid rookie season, but I don't have them doing anything crazy.
You're not getting me with the Jags again. He got me so late with the Jags. He fully convinced me on the Jags last year. I was like,
the Jags.
Okay, I'm going to do it. Not this year. I had the Texans at 10-7, the Jags at 8-9, the Titans at 7-10. I like the Titans. I think Cam Ward's going to have some success, especially later in the year. And the Colts with Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson at 6-11. And the Texans are going under the radar. They don't have this great team. Mixon might miss the whole year now, but Nico Collins is one of the best receivers in football.
Yes.
I think Stroud has a better season. DeMeco Ryans showed me a lot last season when things weren't really going their way. They kind of had that sophomore slump as a team, as an organization with this new regime, but they found a way to get through it, and they found a way to win a postseason game, which is impressive in itself against a really good Chargers team last year against Jim Harbaugh. So, I don't know. I think they're under the radar. I don't think they're going to go far, but I have them winning this division.
They are a little bit under the radar. I think a lot of people aren't saying what I'm saying. They are saying that the Texans are going to win the division kind of again by default. The thing that just scares me with them, I was looking at that offensive line, and they traded Tunsil in the offseason, and the offensive line was awful last year, especially run blocking wise. And I'm like, you just lost your best lineman and your franchise left tackle via trade. I'm really scared for that offensive line. I agree with all the Nico Collins praise you had. Sure, fantasy football and real life stuff to put up stats. I think he's going to be great. I think Stroud could have a pretty good year. They got Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll in the offseason. Like, cool. I'm fearful for that offensive line, and I'm fearful to see how good the defense is going to be in terms of can it be that good where it takes care of all the other worries.
And the Jags are going to be an interesting show. I mean, you have Travis Hunter, and what is he going to do? Is he going to play both ways? What does he look like as a receiver? Can he elevate Trevor Lawrence? Because I think that's going to be his number one job there. But they have weapons. Brian Thomas had an underrated somehow rookie season. He was great last season.
Yep.
And Trevor Lawrence, this is put up or shut up time. They paid him, but he really needs to prove that he is worth this contract and worth being a franchise quarterback.
And he's proven that he can do that. We remember his second year, and I believe it was his second year in the NFL when they made the playoffs, and he went on that crazy second half run where he was playing very well. I think Liam Cohen was one of the most, if not the most underrated coach hirings of the offseason. I think it was really, he was kind of overshadowed by that Duval meme that went viral.
That wasn't good.
But I really like what he's going to do for Trevor Lawrence. I think this offense is going to be really good, actually. Like, I'm not going to go out and say that it's going to be top 5 level, but I think it will be on the better half of the league. Listen, one thing I got to say about Travis Hunter, there's a lot of speculation out there to say he's going to play more defense, he's going to play more offense. I think everybody's starting to realize he's going to play a little bit more offense. But, like, even if you want to talk fantasy football purposes here, I see a lot of people saying, Travis Hunter, I don't know if we take him in the fifth round of fantasy football. Like, they just traded an arm and a leg to get this guy. And you're getting him at the freshest he'll ever be at the young age he's at. You really don't think they're going to try to get him the ball as much as possible, considering Liam Cohen had Chris Godwin and Mike Evans last year, and Travis Hunter is the second overall pick and apparently would still be a top 5 pick if he was just a wide receiver. They're going to make sure they get their due diligence done with Travis Hunter, and they're going to get the most out of him. He's going to be really good. I would depending on his odds, probably aren't great, but I would take him for Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's not going to be my pick on the show specifically, just for fun. But they're going to make their use out of Travis Hunter, and I think this offense is going to make a lot of noise, and I think the defense is going to be too bad.
I'm excited to watch them. The more you talk, I'm not going there. I'm not switching this.
I'm just saying, look what Cohen did with Baker Mayfield.
No, and I think the offense I think they're going to take those next steps. I do. I just, late in games, do I trust Trevor Lawrence?
Yes.
That's
okay.
the big thing.
I get it.
We did a 180 on Trevor Lawrence. You know how big of a Trevor Lawrence
Yes.
guy I was coming out of college into the pros.
Yeah.
I was a big Trevor Lawrence guy.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And now you're all over Trevor.
I get it.
You
I
love
think
Trevor.
he's going to have a real good year.
I hope so. I root for him. I root for Trevor because I don't want to look like an idiot.
I like it.
The AFC West, this is interesting. This is going to get interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I will lead us off. In last place, no, I'm kidding. In first place, I have the Los Angeles Chargers at 12-5. In second, I have the Kansas City Chiefs at 11-6. The Broncos in third at 10-7. And the Raiders finishing in last, 6-11. Doable. Tough football team.
Yeah. That's bold of you. That's definitely bold of you, Mike. I'm
about to get
also
bolder.
going to get bold. I got the Broncos winning the division at 12-5. I got the Chiefs in second, also at 12-5. The Chargers in third at 11-6, and the Raiders, like you, 6-11. I guess let's just get the Raiders out of the way real quick. Thought they were going to be higher for me when I started going through the schedule and the way things shaked out. It's a tough division. I think the Raiders could be fun to watch. I like what they did this offseason, getting some life back in that organization, but 6-11.
Gino doesn't really move the needle. GT's going to be great. I'm excited to watch him. I think he's going to be a legit fantasy
What do you
player.
mean by move the needle?
Like, I don't think
Like
he
elevates the team?
I don't think he takes them to the next level that they want to get to.
Okay, sure. He definitely,
Gino.
He definitely is a major improvement from what they had.
Oh, yes, of course. 100%.
Yes. Okay.
But, like, how much did they do around him
Right.
to make this team
Right.
better?
Yes.
That would be the question I had. Yeah,
Let's talk Chiefs first, because we have
All right.
different division winners.
go Chiefs.
Chiefs, I just think, like, they're the Miami Heat or the Cavs when they had LeBron. Like, you're going to make the playoffs. The regular season really isn't that important to you. They have Rashee Rice, who's going to be out for a while because of the suspension. Travis Kelce has been decreasing every single year. I think they're really just going to be like, can we get something out of you in the playoffs, Travis? So we'll see. I would like to think that Mahomes, after all this chatter the last couple of years, is going to come out and have an FU kind of season. But I don't know if he'll be able to do that with a washed Travis Kelce, honestly, and then Xavier Worthy and Juju and some of these guys, and then 6 games without Rashee Rice. They're going to get to the playoffs. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with once again in the playoffs, but I think it slips for them a little bit.
Yeah, I don't love they lost a lot of pieces on this offensive line. Rashee Rice, you mentioned that. That's big. I mean, the 4 games that he's going to miss out of the 6, 4 out of the 6, Eagles, Chargers, Lions, Ravens.
Yep.
Those are 4 massive games against 4 really good teams that he is missing.
Mm-hmm.
That's big.
bad.
And if you have your number 1 wide receiver, if you think they're going to go 3-1 in those games with him, maybe they're 2-2. Who knows? 1-3. Listen, I know you don't make money betting against the Chiefs, and I'm not. They're going to go to the postseason, but I think the Chargers are going to have that season finally with Jim Harbaugh now in his 2nd season. I think they're going to have a big year. And I know they lost Slater. I'm all over these Chargers.
I was going to say, I might have had the Chargers winning this division up until Slater got hurt. It was just such a brutal injury.
It's tough.
I mean, it's your best offensive lineman. Obviously, having Joe Alt to just slide to left tackle is pretty nice.
Yeah.
But still, now you have a crappy right tackle. No offense to, Trey Pipkins or whatever his name is.
Who's flying over.
I do like the Chargers. I think that, I know a lot of people are high on Hampton. I think Hampton's going to be good for them. We know that run game is something that they prioritize. I actually really like under the radar move, bringing Keenan Allen back. That's really nice.
You're into that, huh?
For them to get him, and I think Ladd's going to have a really good second year. But
drafted Trey Harris.
Yes, but Mike, the offseason that the Denver Broncos had was what a team should do when you have a quarterback who almost won Rookie of the Year in Bo Nix, and you made the playoffs, and you played really well. Basically, after every week, you just got better and better. That's what the Denver Broncos did last year. And this was a defense that was one of the best in the NFL last year, arguably the best. And they added a couple pieces in the offseason, including Dre Greenlaw, which is a really big get for them. Surtain is phenomenal. It's a really loaded defense, and getting Evan Ingram is a nice little move for them. They got J.K. Dobbins. They get R.J. Harvey. They got some pretty solid weapons now.
That's the one thing I would ask. Is the running game going to be good enough?
I think it will be. I think with Nick's ability to create and run as a threat to run opens it up a little bit for them. And I think that running back room, listen, Javonte Williams, if you look at the advanced numbers, he was one of the worst running backs in the NFL last year. I mean, unfortunately, the guy was a great prospect out of college, but after the injuries, he's lost it all.
Who they trot out there with Williams last year? Who else? Was it Estime was still there?
Estime and McLaughlin, Jaleel McLaughlin. Yeah, they were just throwing people out there. So.
And we got this Harvey guy now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like it.
Peyton
I really do.
Needs if you look at Sean Payton's history, even with Drew Brees, there's always a good running game.
Yep.
There's always a big time running game,
and using the running backs in the passing game, with like Kamara and
Can these guys step up and do what Sean Payton needs them to do?
I think they can,
and I trust Payton. The one thing about
use a second round pick on R.J. Harvey.
The one thing about the sophomore slump is you look at the coach, and like last year you had the big obvious sophomore slump was Stroud. And you had a rookie coach going into his second year, and it was a defensive coach. You got a veteran guy here in Peyton that knows exactly what he's doing, and I don't think he's going to allow that sophomore slump to happen.
Are you alluding to something that we were going to talk about maybe in the next division?
I think so, a little bit. We're good there. We'll rank them when we get to the postseason and the seeds.
Yeah.
The NFC East.
NFC East.
I'll kick it off.
Go ahead.
Eagles 12-5, they're in first. The Commanders at 9-8. The Giants at 7-10, and the Cowboys also at 7-10, finishing in last. Yes, I have the Commanders missing the playoffs at 9-8. I think they're an 8-9 win ball club, anywhere in that range. We talked about the sophomore slump. Just mentioned it. With D'Amico Ryans being a defensive coach. Now, Dan Quinn has experience. I understand that. But a defensive coach in his second year with this team, I think Daniels is going to be good. I don't think it's going to be as exaggerated of a sophomore slump. But I don't love this roster in Washington, and I think they missed the playoffs.
Yeah. Mike, I'm going to have to agree with you. We got some pretty similar, at least top of the division here. I got the Eagles at 11-6, winning the division. Commanders at 9-8. Missing the playoffs, first team out. Cowboys at 7-10, and the Giants at 4-13. And let me just say this about the Giants, because I do think, cool. There's just this crazy buzz going on in New York right now from Giants fans. They do this every year. You guys are getting a little insane with this stuff. I have them at 3-3 in the division.
That's big.
The reason I bring that up, all the talk is about their schedule. Their schedule is insane. So I have them winning one game out of the division. The odds that actually happens, pretty low.
If they go 3-3 in the division, they're probably winning 6 or 7 games.
I would like to believe so. But unfortunately, the way it's stacked up for me, that's what happened. You good on the Giants? You want to talk Giants?
I'll talk Giants when we get into the season. I think I think it's the best roster they've had in a very long time. The schedule is brutal. I get that. Things change when you get into the season. My expectations aren't crazy high. 6-7 wins. That's where I'm at. Okay. And I'll leave it there.
I would say best roster you've had in a long time. Yeah, but really just defensively. Outside of Neighbors on the offense.
Yeah.
Thomas is banged up. And then everybody else, I'm kind of just okay.
There's not much depth.
There's not much, right? Wandale and
in the wide receiver room.
Yeah. Cowboys, quick. We just talked about them. 7-10. I mean, Schottenheimer, I don't really know what we were doing with that hire. Yeah.
7-10 could be generous.
Yeah, it actually could. I'm honestly doing it because of they're the Cowboys. I think they'll just
with everything
win 7 games.
But you know what's funny? And maybe I do want to lower this a little bit. We would say that because they're just the Cowboys and they have Dak. But that was because Mike McCarthy, a Super Bowl champion, borderline Hall of Fame coach, was the head coach.
Yeah.
It's not Mike McCarthy anymore.
Got the short end of the stick continuously, and I think was just the scapegoat for them to of the ownership group to just be like, okay, let's get rid of our head coach because something's got to change.
It's Brian Schottenheimer, who, if was on the market, wouldn't have gotten one of the top offensive coordinator jobs in the entire league.
Talk about how weird the NFL is. I mean, Brian Schottenheimer at one point, he was fired from the Jets as their offensive coordinator and seemed like he wouldn't get another coordinator job. And now here he is coaching the most famous team in football.
It's because Jerry needs that power. It's
Yeah.
because he needs the power over the coach.
Right. This is like a Jerry Jones, like David Stern signing Frankie Montas. Like, let's try and act smart here.
Exactly.
Not to throw a Mets dig in there.
Similar.
All right,
7-4.
Commanders 9-8. You talked about it a little bit. Yeah. Dan Quinn did a great job last year. I don't think Dan Quinn's a bad coach. Listen, Jaden Daniels is very talented. I'm a believer in the talent of Jaden Daniels. I don't love the offseason that they had. I don't like the aging pieces that they got. I don't think they necessarily moved the needle. And I think this offense became a little predictable last year, and they got away with it because of Jaden Daniels' raw talent and the fact that they were just new and this explosive, fun team. I don't know if a full season of their kind of offensive playing style and not having much of a run game outside of Daniels is going to play well in 2025.
Yeah. They got so many big contributions from a bunch of veterans on that defense. They did not add enough weapons in this offseason for that offense, for Jaden Daniels, and he's a special player. He's going to win an MVP. He's going to be I can't say anything.
He's their franchise quarterback.
I can't say anything more about him because he's going to be great.
Yeah.
But I don't love him this year. And I think the franchise did him wrong and the organization did him wrong heading into this season.
Yes, agreed. So the streak is over. We have two streaks ending. That's a Mike Tomlin streak and the NFC East new division winner streak ending with the Philadelphia Eagles winning in 2025.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Eagles, I'll say this. I'm not the biggest Hurts guy.
Yeah.
Really not. The roster's loaded. They've lost pieces on defense. They're going to replace them. The offensive line's going to be great. Saquon. They have the weapons. This is going to be, and I have them at 12. It could be 11. It's not going to be as easy. It's not going to be as fun. It's not going to be as free-flowing as it was last season at times.
And it wasn't
later.
even free-flowing last
Later
season.
in the year.
Later in the year,
they got on that roll. This is going to be it's a brutal schedule like everybody in this division. I'm not in love with them. They're not winning the Super Bowl, but they win the division.
Yeah, I mean, and I think we know how difficult it is to repeat in the NFL. The Chiefs did it because they're the Chiefs, but they do have a great roster. Everything's still in place besides Kellen Moore and a couple of pieces on defense. It's almost like luck can't all be on their side again. Not that they won it because of luck, but we know that you need to be, I don't care if you're the greatest roster of all time, you need to have some form of luck to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Injury luck, the way certain things fall your way, it has to happen. It literally has to happen. I don't know if that necessarily goes the same way for them this year. I got them the 2 seed in the NFC. I got them going decently far in the playoffs, but agreed. No Super Bowl appearance and no Super Bowl.
There we go. The NFC North, kick it off for us, JM.
Mike switched it around as of 6 p.m. today. Green Bay Packers winning the division 11-6. Lions coming in second 11-6. And then the Chicago Bears at 9-8. And to round it out, the Minnesota Vikings at 7-10.
Not to pat myself on the back. Didn't have to switch this when I did this last night. Packers 12-5, division winners. Lions 10-7. Bears 8-9. Vikings 7-10. I'm all over the Packers. I was before the trade. I love it even more. I love the fact that the air conditioning just went on here because I actually was starting to sweat.
Yeah, I was getting a little bees on the head too.
I do like the Packers. I think Golden's going to be a big add for them on the offense.
Yes.
And he's going to add speed to that room, which they need. The receivers aren't great. It could be what holds them back from winning a Super Bowl this year. The defense we mentioned at the top was a top 10 defense last year. And now they had the best defensive player in football, arguably. I can't say anything more. We talked about it before. I'm just going to leave it there, 12-5. I think they're one of the top seeds, and I'm all over the Packers.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that was getting me a little bit was the defense was great, but was it going to take that next step? And that's why I had them at 10-7 before 6 p.m. Obviously, adding Parsons shifted that for me. Now I gave them another win to get them to win the division. The only reason I don't go 12-5, even 13-4, because I do think they have a talented enough roster for that. And I really like Jordan Love to have a bounce back year this year. The schedule, they do have a pretty tough schedule, the Packers, so that's why I have them at 11 wins. Moving on to the Lions,
Yeah.
I actually think what's happening to the Lions now, they're underrated at this point. They really are. I totally get it. I know you're not a Dan Campbell guy. I'm not a Dan Campbell guy in terms of the X's and O's, but I think Dan Campbell is probably doing a pretty good job in that locker room, telling them how much they're being doubted and kind of telling them to put a chip on their shoulder. Listen, the Lions, it seemed like it was their year last year, and it just fell apart for them. But people forget, I mean, that defense almost had to start pulling people from the stands to play for them. I mean, horrible injury luck last year. Aleem McNeil, Aiden Hutchinson, the list goes on and on of guys that were hurt. I think DJ Reed was one of the most underrated signings of the offseason. That's a great signing for them, a really good corner. I like Hutchinson to have a bounce-back year after a gruesome injury. I just think the Lions, I think the offense will take a little bit of a step back. I think they're going to feel Johnson more than Glenn, just because I think you feel an offensive coordinator a little bit more anyways. And the injuries from last year, the defense will be healthier. So I think the offense will take a little bit of a step back, but this is still one of the most talented rosters in the NFL. I think they'll be just fine.
It's not crazy. It's actually, it makes more sense to say, well, you'll feel the X's and O's and see it on the field, the loss of an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator.
And like tight ends coach and freaking a lot of coaches. They lost a lot of coaches.
But they lost. I mean, you see it now, and we see it being in New York. We see the kind of leader and man that Aaron Glenn is. Mm-hmm. I think inside that locker room, on the practice field, on a day-to-day basis, I think that is going to be a bigger loss than Ben Johnson was. I love Aaron Glenn. I can't say anything else about Aaron Glenn. I think it's a massive loss for the Lions. Also Johnson. 10-7's not bad. 10-7's in the playoffs. But I've been on this for how many years? When they lose Johnson and they lose Glenn.
Yeah, like what happened to the Eagles when they lost Steichen and Gannon.
And they'll be back next year. Just like the Eagles were. They won the Super Bowl the year after. Yeah. So, yeah, that's where I am with the Lions.
Ben Johnson, now he's in Chicago.
Yeah.
9-8, and you have them at 8-9. I mean, that's pretty solid. I think I got them at 1-5 in the division. Unfortunately, I think they're going to, we know the Packers have a tendency to own them, and I think they're going to struggle. It is a tough division. Yeah, I mean, the offense is nice. They have a lot of weapons on that offense now, although I don't like the running back room. But Loveland and Kmet, you got two tight ends there. You got Moore and Rome Odunze, and then even Luther Burden is an underrated guy for them, maybe, that was a big name in college. So they could be fun on offense if Caleb takes that next step with Ben Johnson. But I think there's still going to be some growing pains there. And it's a tough NFC. It's a tough division. So 9-8's a good year. I take that if I'm a Bears fan, and I think you're more looking at 2026.
I think Bears fans are going to be disappointed if they go 7-10, 8-9, miss the playoffs, this and that. It is going to take some time with Ben Johnson. It's a very complex offense. Mm-hmm. And I also think, and I'm not a big running back guy, but you look at the offense that Johnson ran in Detroit, he relied heavily on those backs, and they went out and they got Gibbs, it picked, 12 or 13, whatever it was, early in the first round. They obviously had Montgomery, who they paid and had there for a very long time. They rely on the backs, and they don't have the backs right now. Yeah. So I think with Johnson and Williams is going to show some flashes. It may not be some instant success, and I love Caleb.
Yes.
But I agree. It's 2026. But this could be a good stepping stone.
Fun little stat.
Go.
I like my little stats here. About DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift had a career worst season in 2024, finishing with negative 174 rushing yards over expected, which was the worst among all running backs with at least 90 carries in the league. Mind you, this is also by I think 60 or 70 yards. So DeAndre Swift was by far the worst running back in football last year. So I don't think he's going to be good this year either. Yes, they had a fun offseason. Joe Thuney was a big get for them. But yeah.
Really interested to see the Vikes. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like with McCarthy. I think there's been a lot of smoke coming out of Minnesota. Yes. I don't know if he's looked as good as he actually has, but I'll keep it short and sweet with them. I think Kevin O'Connell is one of the 5-7 best coaches in football, and he's going to make that offense look better than it actually does at times. And McCarthy could have success. I'm very interested to see what he looks like, but there may be some growing pains early there too.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying about O'Connell, but I actually think he's being a little over-respected after last year. I think that people are just assuming because of what he did with Sam Darnold that he's just going to wave his wand and J.J. McCarthy's going to have a really good year. Like,
what if you look at this season and Darnold is dog crap?
Oh yeah, no.
Seattle.
But I don't think that necessarily has to. Yes, that'll speak to the job that he did with Darnold last year, but I don't know if that necessarily means that he's going to do the same thing with McCarthy. Like, Sam Darnold threw 35 touchdowns last year. Do we really think that J.J. McCarthy's going to throw even close to 35 touchdowns
not at
this
all.
year? I don't think so. I think you're going to get a little bit more game manager style out of J.J. McCarthy like he did at Michigan, rely on some creative ways to get Jefferson the ball and maybe use Mason and Aaron Jones and Hawkinson and Addison. They just got Adam Thielen. Like, there's a bunch of weapons on that offense. And that defense was able to overperform last year with the job that blanking out Patriots' old defensive coordinator.
Brian Flores.
Coach. Yeah. Brian Flores. What he did with that defense last year, sure,
but
great job. I don't know if they're going to be able. I think they got the most out of the orange when they squeezed it last year. I don't know if they're going to be able to squeeze it as hard this year.
I've heard some crazy predictions for them. Adam Shine on SiriusXM. I turned it on for like 10 minutes today. He's got them in the NFC Championship
That's
game.
a bit absurd.
That's a lot of belief.
J.J. McCarthy's a rookie. Like, he missed an
I
entire
know.
season.
I know
He's
he
a
is. They're fascinating to me. One of the more fascinating teams in the entire league. I'm very
excited.
excited.
A big stock in the coaching staff. But hey, it could work out.
They might just be that good.
Yep.
The NFC South, I'll kick it off. The Bucks at 11-6, winning the division. The Falcons 10-7. The Panthers 5-12, and the Saints. Can't believe I have 4 wins. Should be a little less. They're terrible.
Pretty close though. This is a very, very close division in terms of our predictions to each other. I got the Buccaneers winning the division at 11-6, Falcons at 10-7. Panthers at 4-13, and the Saints at 2-15.
The Saints are awful. I'm not saying anything more on them. Yeah. The Panthers, we both kind of came in here and said we wish we could have given them a couple more wins. I like Bryce Young. I like Canales. They could be a 6 or 7 win team. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see what McMillan looks like in his rookie year with Bryce now. Was this Bryce's 3rd year?
Yeah.
Bryce's 3rd year.
4th?
No, this is his 3rd. Same year.
Same year as Stroud. 3rd year.
Third year. Be interesting, but uninterested in this division.
Yeah.
Besides the Bucks,
I do think the Falcons could be fun though. Like, they could be. Yeah. The thing that made me hesitate for the Falcons to win the division, because I really wanted to do it, it's just like, I don't know how much I believe in Penix yet. I think that I liked Penix coming out to be a solid, like, NFL ready quarterback, but now do I trust him to go into a full season and take a team that hasn't won the division in years and win the division? I don't know if I could go as far to say that. So I like the Falcons. I think they're going to make some noise. The Bucks, Baker, I think, had an all-time year last year in terms of his career. I think that's his ceiling. I don't think we're going to see Baker take any more steps. I mean, if he could, then now we're talking like Joe Burrow territory, which I don't think he's going to get to.
So you're not on the Baker Mayfield MVP?
I'm not on the Baker Mayfield MVP. I'm on Baker Mayfield to still have a good season. I don't think he'll hit 40 home runs again. And I think Liam Cohen leaving is going to have an effect on him in some way. But I still think that this is a talented roster that has really good pieces on it. The receiver room is very deep. They could stomach the Godwin injury. Even McMillan isn't completely healthy, but they have Ibuka. They have Mike Evans. I think they'll be fine. Bucky Irving, fan favorite. Everybody likes him. I think he'll have a good year. But 11-6, it's a great year for the Bucks.
Schwarber had a chance against a position player to hit a 5th home run. He popped out.
Oh, my God. He probably swung out of his shoes.
He did. Raheem Morris has a lot of pressure on him because what he did last year in that game against the Commanders, basically costing them a chance at a postseason spot in Week 18. It was disgusting. And he got ripped for that, and people were calling for his firing after that. He's got a lot to prove in this season because there's heat on him if they are not at least competing for a playoff spot late in December, early January. I think they do get there. I like Penix. I think he'll do enough in that offense and being carried by Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I think it's about time for this team to make some noise. They've had a lot of premier picks that they've used on weapons like Pitts, London, and Bijan, And they've been building that defense for a little while now. I think it's about time for the Falcons to strap up their boots and make it happen.
And I'm a big fan of the Bucs, but I think people have seen this on social media and know this already.
Yes.
The NFC West, you kick us off.
NFC West, Rams at 12-5, Seahawks 11-6, Cardinals 7-10, and the 49ers I have at 7-10, last in the division.
Yeah, this is where we're going to have a lot of disagreement. I have the Rams, the 1 seed in the NFC, 12-5. I have the Niners at 11-6 in second place in the postseason. I have the Cardinals at 7-10, and then the Seahawks finishing in last at 7-10 as well.
Yeah, Mike.
There's a lot of disagreement there.
A lot of disagreement there. I mean, let's start off with what we agree with. I have the Rams as the 1 seed overall at 12-5, which is a super impressive record to be the 1 seed, but we've seen it happen before. I really like what the Rams are looking like. The only concern is the health of Stafford, but I feel like at this age, I feel like that comes with being an old quarterback. There's always concerns about health, so I think it'll be all right. They have this whole rejuvenation traveling tent or something for him. I think hopefully that'll do wonders for him.
Yeah.
And I like the receivers with Puka, and I think Adams has got more juice in the tank. And I think if there's a quarterback to bring the most out of him at this age, it's Matt Stafford. We know how much he loves his receivers.
Yep.
But then the defensive side of the ball. I mean, Jared Verse is a young, ascending superstar, honestly. Braden Fisk, another nice pick for them last year. There's other really good pieces on this defense. I like them going into the season to just be a pretty complete, good team. I like me some LA Rams.
I love the Rams. I'll talk about them more later. It's going to be just, can Stafford stay healthy? Can you keep him upright? They're going to run the hell out of the football with Williams and Corum, and I think they're going to be very successful at that. And they'll use Stafford and those wide receivers when they need to. But the first thing McVay wants to do is run the football, and they're going to do that.
Yes.
The 49ers, I mean, there's a clear disagreement. Mm-hmm. They play an easy schedule. I'm more of a Purdy guy than most people. I don't love the weapons, but I like them. I think McCaffrey's going to have a big year. You also now can piggyback him with Brian Robinson, that trade they just made. So I think they're going to run the football. I think there's enough weapons. It's an easy schedule. They're going to beat up on some bad teams early, and I think they're going to do enough to make the playoffs. This is not a serious Super Bowl contender. I don't know. A lot of people like them to win the Super Bowl. Bounce back. I don't see it, but I trust Shanahan, and I trust Purdy, and I trust the defense.
All right, incoming devil's advocate to everything that you just said. I don't like the running game. I don't like the offensive line. Christian McCaffrey has had his injury troubles. If he stays healthy, he could have a really good season. How many times have we said that? He tends to not stay healthy, so that's a big concern there. I don't think Brian Robinson Jr. is anything much different than an Isaac Guerrero. I think he's a downgrade from Jordan Mason, who they traded away in the offseason. The offensive line outside of Trent Williams isn't really anything to look twice at. Trent Williams is getting up there in age. Who knows how he's going to play this year? Mm-hmm. And then you look over to the defensive side of the ball. You lose Dre Greenlaw. They don't have Eric Armstead. They don't have DeForest Buckner. I know DeForest Buckner's been gone for a while, but I'm just talking about some of the guys that have been pulled away from this defense for a couple of years now. Jason Hargrave's gone. Like, there are not guys on this defense where I'm looking at it on paper and I'm going, wow, that is a badass Niners defense. So if the defense isn't completely solid where I could say, wow, look at this team, and I'm concerned about the offense, and I haven't even touched on the receivers. Ricky Pearsall was a first-round pick, and Ricky Pearsall could be a good receiver in the NFL. He's supposed to be basically their number one receiver right now. 1 or 1A to Jawan Jennings.
When does Ayuk come back?
I don't like that. Ayuk's supposed to come back maybe like week 6 to 8, but who knows how he's going to be when he comes back. I also think Ayuk's a really good receiver, but I don't know if he's a guy that, he's not a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, like top-of-the-line elite receiver where you just throw him in and you're like, oh, we're good now. So
and he's not paid like one either.
No, he's not. So the offense concerns me. I think Kittle, we're talking fantasy football. I think that's a great pick because who else are they going to throw the ball to? But I'm not big on the Niners, man. I think at some point we got to look at this roster and say, is Kyle Shanahan going to be able to make it work? And by looking at it, I don't think he can make it work.
They're very year to year. Every other year they are good. Every other year they're a problem.
Yeah,
and I'm going to rely on that. And I have a weird feeling McCaffrey stays healthy and he does a lot. We'll see though. We're on the opposite ends of the spectrum here with the 49ers. And definitely with the Hawks. What was your record for the Hawks again?
11-6.
Yeah, I'm at 7-10. I don't love Darnold leaving that situation and coming into this one. I like McDonald. I think he could be, I think he's going to be a good coach. Defensive guy, though. I'm not in love here. I'm not in love. And JSN's a great player. What else do they have around JSN? They'll have a running game.
Yeah, you got Cooper Kupp, who I think is more of a name at this point. Yeah, I agree. Listen, I'm not picking this team because I love the receivers. Like, I love JSN, love him, but outside of him, don't love the receivers. Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, that's the best running back room in football, if you ask me.
Really?
Yeah. Kenneth Walker is, to me, a top 5 running back in football, easily, actually.
So I know you're doing it on 2 fantasy
in terms of talent. Well, I'm just talking talent now. I'm not talking fantasy points. But, really like him. And then you look at this defense. I actually really like the defense. The secondary is very good. Reek Woolen and Devon Witherspoon could be very close to the top of the league in terms of corner duos. They got Byron Murphy a year ago in the draft. Leonard Williams is a good veteran. They bring over DeMarcus Lawrence from the Cowboys, who, at his age, okay, maybe he's not prime DeMarcus Lawrence, but he could be a pretty solid piece. I like the depth on this defense, and I think the biggest question mark that I haven't talked about yet is Sam Darnold, right? Yes. Did Kevin O'Connell do great things for Sam Darnold last year? Yes. Do we expect Sam Darnold to do the same thing without Kevin O'Connell?
Of course not.
No, but I don't think he's going to go off of what he was too far. I think you could see a really good Geno Smith, his best year in Seattle-esque year out of Sam Darnold, where I could see him actually throwing up to 30 touchdowns on this offense. I could see him still having a really good year because I believe in the talent of Sam Darnold. I always have. I think he just got screwed up by the Jets. He got screwed up by the Panthers. He finally got an opportunity with a good organization, and I think the Seahawks are a good organization.
They're a good organization. I think it's going to be a drop-off. When there's too much evidence of him, and I was the biggest Darnold defender in the world. He was in the perfect situation last season. Mm-hmm. I think there's going to be a drop-off. I don't know how much of a drop-off, but I think there's going to be some kind of drop-off.
Totally understood, Mike.
All right. I don't have anything on the Cardinals.
I don't have anything on the Cardinals either.
7-10.
They just feel like I feel like the Cardinals are in like purgatory.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just stuck in like kind of good land.
And I don't know if Gannon survives this, but we'll see. I actually forgot who the coach was. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
I don't know if Gannon survives it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, Jay, let's read out the top the playoff teams and the seeding in the AFC. You start off.
Number 1 seed, Baltimore Ravens. 2 seed, Bills. 3, Broncos. 4, Jaguars. And then my 3 wildcard teams, Bengals. 5 seed, the Chiefs. 6 seed, and the Chargers, the 7 seed.
All right. I have the Bills as the 1 seed, Chargers 2 seed, Ravens 3 seed, Texans 4 seed, Bengals the 5 seed, the Chiefs the 6, and the Broncos are the 7th. The NFC before we get to our conference championship and then Super Bowl.
My 7 playoff teams, the Rams, the 1 seed, the Eagles, the 2 seed, the Packers, the 3 seed, the Buccaneers, the 4 seed, and then my 3 wildcard teams, I got the Seahawks, the 5th seed, the Lions, the 6th seed, and the Falcons, the 7th seed.
I got the Rams as the top overall seed, the Packers 2 seed, Eagles are the 3 seed, Bucks the 4 seed, and the wildcard teams, the Niners, Lions, Falcons.
So where do we disagree? I have the Seahawks in, you have the Niners in.
Yes.
And then in the AFC, I have the Jags in, you have the Texans in?
Yes, and then we just flip-flopped the division winner of the AFC West.
Got you.
That's what we did. All right, JM, your conference championship in the AFC.
My conference championship in the AFC will be a divisional matchup of the Baltimore Ravens hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Would you like me to say who wins?
I would like to see the winner.
I am having the Baltimore Ravens advance to the Super Bowl, Michael.
Wow.
Yeah, and do you want me to jump to the NFC? Or?
No, I'll give AFC quick. We both have the Chiefs out of the AFC Championship game. This is not going to end well. I have Bills versus Chargers, and I have the Bills going to the Super Bowl. Please give me your Super Bowl champion, or your NFC, sorry.
All right. You're jumping the gun there. I have the Rams hosting the Green Bay Packers in the NFC Championship game. and I have the Rams advancing to the Super Bowl. So that's a Rams-Ravens, a little R versus R Super Bowl.
We have the same NFC Championship game. I have the Rams and the Packers, and I have the Rams winning the NFC and playing the Bills in the Super Bowl. JM, your Super Bowl champion.
Let me just say this before I say my Super Bowl champion. You chuckled a little bit when I said the Ravens were going to the Super Bowl, and I know why you did, because I think this might be the second year in a row I had the Ravens winning the Super Bowl.
Yep.
But you do realize it's a lot of heat for you saying, and I'm doing the same thing, saying the Chiefs aren't going to make the AFC Championship, but you have the Los Angeles Chargers, who have not been very successful in the playoffs recently. You have them in the AFC Championship.
Jim Harbaugh effect.
That's bold. I like it.
Jim
Be bold. I'm just
Harbaugh
saying.
effect.
Okay, Ravens, Rams, who's going to win 2 years in a row? I'm doing it. I have the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson getting his first ring. The Baltimore Ravens winning their third Super Bowl, I believe, and winning it.
Very nice.
Yep.
Back to the Ravens tree. I am not making the same mistake I made last year picking the Bills to win the Super Bowl. I got the Rams beating the Bills in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And I've been on the Rams all offseason long. And then you have these injuries. Everybody knows I've been on the Rams too. Since like June or July, I'm like, oh, I love the Rams. I think the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. And I placed a bet actually on them to win the Super Bowl. And then I cashed it out and I placed it again. Same odds, thank God. But when the Rams, when you had this injury to Stafford, I was getting a little nervous. And you know what? Screw it. Injuries happen.
Injuries do happen.
He's a tough guy. He's going to get through it. I love this roster. I love this defense. I love this coach. I'm so excited to watch the Rams play football. The Rams are my Super Bowl champion.
I love it, Mike. I love it. I love it. We got our teams that we ride or die with.
Rams are one of mine.
We root for. And the Ravens are mine, man. I'm a Lamar guy. I've always been a Lamar guy, and he's got to get it done one of these years. I think he's pissed he didn't get the MVP last year. Hopefully Mark Andrews catches the ball this time, and they get it done.
I'll tell you this. I think the Rams win the Super Bowl, and Stafford retires. That's it.
Rides off into the sunset.
I love that defense. I love that defensive line.
I like that. Award time, no?
Award time. The MVP of the league, JM.
Well, if you win the Super Bowl, chances are pretty high that you get the MVP on your team, too. I'm going Lamar Jackson to win his third, should be fourth, MVP.
It's the third time he said it today. My MVP is Joe Burrow. I think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts. They're going to be in the postseason, and if they do get there and win those games, it's going to be because they scored a ton of points. Joe Burrow finally gets an MVP.
I got to say, Mike, I really like that. You know I love me some Joe Shiesty.
I know.
I like that. And they're going to throw
I feel really good.
They're going to throw the crap out of the ball.
I've never felt better about a couple of awards here. They had a very long time.
What are his odds? 650?
Plus 650.
I like that a lot.
He's like third or fourth. It's chalk, but feeling.
Forgive me, I don't have the odds on my Offensive Player of the Year, but the Offensive Player of the Year I have is the team that the Ravens will be facing. I have Puka Nacua winning the Offensive Player of the Year. If if Matt Stafford stays healthy, the sky is the limit for Puka. He could put up Cooper Kupp numbers. I mean, the talent is there. Like, I know in Cooper Kupp's Triple Crown year, there was some talk about him being overrated, and maybe it was slightly accurate. I mean, I think he was still a great receiver, but yeah, sure, did he benefit from being in that slot role and just constantly getting the ball shoved down his throat? Okay. I think you could make the argument that Puka's a more talented receiver than Cooper Kupp was during that season. Mm-hmm. The talent is off the charts with Puka. As long as those touchdowns go up a little bit for him, I think he's going to put numbers 1,500-plus yards, 120-plus receptions. If he scores 12-plus touchdowns, you're looking at the Offensive Player of the Year.
Love me some Puka.
Yeah.
Mine's Bijan. Quick and simple. Penix is going to need a player like that to rely on. They're going to throw the ball to him. He's obviously going to be big in that passing game. And listen, their recipe for success is going to be running the football. I think Bijan is a big year, 20-plus touchdowns. I think he's going to be the number one fantasy player in the league. I'm all in on Bijan.
I like it. I like it a lot, Mike. Defensive Player of the Year. I'm sorry, maybe it's recency bias because he's on my mind, but pause. I got Micah Parsons of the Green Bay Packers now winning the Defensive Player of the Year award. The guy has been rock steady, great. Kind of reminds me of Myles Garrett in terms of the sack numbers never really added up, where you knew he was so dominant. But Micah Parsons has never had a 18, 19 sack season. I think it could be coming in Green Bay. I like Micah to win it. I think he's pissed, especially, now he's free and he's annoyed with what happened in the offseason. I think he just goes crazy.
And he's paid. I haven't felt this good about an award pick in a while.
Wow.
I think I'm getting a little too confident thinking about it today. Jared Verse, plus 1,500. I'll give you the odds. Plus 1,500. Go do it. This guy in his rookie season was a wrecking ball. A wrecking ball. And he was banged up in that Eagle game, and he still had a huge performance in a game they almost came back and won in the snow. I'm all in on this guy. Their defensive line is so good. They've drafted so well, replacing Donald with guys inside. Now they draft Verse last season. Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm telling you, this is not gambling advice, but do it. Do it. Plus 1,500 Defensive Player of the Year on that defense. The secondary is going to be better because of this defensive line, but they've also made some improvements there. This defense is going to be rock solid. The blanking on the defensive coordinator's name. It's a second year. Everybody's going to be more comfortable. Love it.
Thank you for clarifying that's not gambling advice.
But it is.
That's bold. That's a nice – take a big swing there. I'm taking a big swing with the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Why not?
Because, listen, I talked about it before. I love the Jags, so it's got to be Travis Hunter, right, JM? Sure, but that's not fun, right? Like, hey, guys, take the second overall pick to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Yeah. Not fun. I'm going with Emeka Egbuka of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This guy is viewed kind of like how JSN was coming out of college from the same college. Just a pro-ready, polished wide receiver. Really, really solid guy. You got Mike Evans, who, Iron Mike. He's going to have 1,000 yards. Who knows if that'll happen again. At some point, it's got to not happen,
it's
right?
It's going to end soon.
Chris Godwin is unfortunately coming off a gruesome injury. He's not going to be ready for the season. And honestly, I hate to say it, but there's a chance that he's never Chris Godwin again off of that injury. And then McMillan had a good rookie season, but he's banged up. So there's a legitimate possibility that at the end of the year, Emeka Egbuka is the number one receiver for this team. And Egbuka is playing in an offense where they're going to throw the ball a lot. Baker Mayfield threw the ball a damn lot last year, threw 40-plus touchdowns. So, we're talking about a potential 1,200 yards maybe out of Egbuka, and that, I think, is enough to get it done to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think Jeanty's going to have a really good year. He'll be great for fantasy. He'll be a safe pick and all that, but I think what's going to dictate him winning that award is how good that Raiders offense ends up being and how many touchdowns he's able to score. So I'm going with Egbuka.
I love it. I love the aggressiveness with it. He's going to be a good player. It's a big time.
He's I think he's plus 2,000 or something.
I'll check right now. He's got great odds. Great
odds.
odds.
Go ahead, read yours. I actually have it in front of me.
Plus 1,800. It was already in front of me.
Unbelievable.
Wait.
I got 4,000.
Hold on.
Oh, mine's also from April 28th of 2025.
Yeah, I have updated.
Okay,
DraftKings. Mine's Amari and Hampton. I think if the Chargers are going to have the year I believe they're going to, it's going to be because they ran the hell out of the football. That's what Jim Harbaugh wants to do, and they controlled the clock, and Hampton was a big-time prospect coming out of North Carolina. There were some scouts that had him rated over Jeanty coming into this draft, and they got him in the first round. And if you're using a first-round selection on a running back, it's clear that there's big-time talent there, big upside. Their running game, their running back room last year was not great. I think there's going to be a stark improvement. And if they're going to be in the spotlight like I believe they're going to be, Hampton's going to have a lot on his shoulders. I think he has a big year.
I like that a lot. Big fan of all your picks so far, actually. I'm really – usually I feel like I disagree with a lot of your picks. This is a new Michael Merlo I'm seeing.
Yeah. I was really looking at the board late last night.
I like it. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I mentioned him before, the second Raven who's popping up on my list. I got Mike Green winning the Defensive Rookie of the Year. I wanted to do Carter. Honestly, I figured this guy was going to do Carter because he's the Giant fan, but also, it's not a crazy pick. He's the favorite. And I don't like Travis Hunter to get it just because I think he's going to play more offense than he plays defense. I don't know if he'll – it's hard for a corner to win it anyways, and to do it when you're not playing every down on defense is really difficult. So I like Mike Green. He plays in a good defense. It's going to make him look good. Edge rushers always have the upper hand when it comes to awards. They put up the most stats. They put up the fun stats. I think Carter's going to have a really good rookie season. I could see him and Green duking it out, but I really like Mike Green. He's a little older than these guys. He's an older rookie, a lot of experience, did all 4 years of college. dominated the Senior Bowl. I like Mike Green representing the Marshall Thundering Herd and winning the Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Be different, be bold. I love it. He's not going to win it.
Okay.
Abdul Carter is a gold jacket player. He is a Hall of Fame level prospect, and he's going to show it right away in the big blue. I cannot wait to watch this guy. Cannot wait.
It'll be fun.
Easy. Plus
It'll be
225.
fun. You see what he tweeted at Micah Parsons today?
What did he tweet?
He said, like, damn, can I hold $1 or something?
Well, he'll be
As
getting
if the Giants aren't paying him already, what, like $10 million?
probably a lot. He'll be getting a lot more than that soon. Don't worry. It'll be coming from the Giants'
Did
pocket.
you put a Coach of the Year?
I actually did not put a Coach of the Year.
Just think real quick off of your predictions. It's got to be a team that you have in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I'll go first.
Yeah, I got one. You go.
No surprise, Liam Cohen,
Yeah, obviously.
Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Jags, all in. Jaguars country. Let's ride Duval.
That's fine. I'm all in. I like Liam. I love the hire. Like, I loved the hire.
It sounds like to me, I don't want to say, I mean, Raheem Morris, if they do make the playoffs, is definitely a candidate.
Yeah. No, I have it already.
Who's it?
It's Jim Harbaugh. It's my
Jim
guy.
Harbaugh, okay.
It's my guy. If
Yeah,
they
that's
win
your
that
guy.
division,
Yeah.
it's Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
You can
Sean
also make a
Payton
case if
also.
Sean Payton wins
Yeah,
the
Sean
division,
Payton, yeah,
it's
that's
going to be him.
That is
but
true.
I would stick with Liam Cohen. They're
No,
going to want to give it to the first year.
Brian Daboll?
No, not yet. Brian Daboll keeps his job.
He does.
Brian Daboll keeps his job. That's a nice bold prediction.
If they go 4-13, though.
Dart would have to come into games
And look good.
whenever he does. I don't know at what point that would be at.
I don't know.
If Dart looks good, they're going to keep him.
Yeah, but what if he looks good and then they're like, okay, let's just bring in an offensive coach to help him out?
No, because he's already had almost a year now working with Daboll. I think they keep. Listen,
You don't want to be the Bears. You do not want to be the Bears who, for whatever stupid ass reason, kept Matt Eberflus.
I know. I believe in this guy. Like, I don't know what it is.
And I got to be honest. This is going to sound surprising. I do too. I think if you're going to have a young quarterback, I think Daboll should be in there. I think they should have fired Shane and kept Daboll. But it's tough to do that.
You think it's because he's chubby? That's why I love him.
He's not even chubby anymore.
He put on that's big too. That's big news in Giant World. Put on a little bit of weight.
So he took all the weight off, and then I would put some back on.
Probably on the shot, but either way,
Yeah, right.
he looks great. But the weight, I want him to put on more weight. He was better when he was round. I want him to be fat.
True.
Love it.
You know what you guys should get?
What?
There's this guy out there. His name is Joe Judge. He's a really good coach.
Where is he now? Is he
Trust
still
me.
in college?
I think he's
Did he
in
get
college.
the college job? Yeah.
He's at a pretty decent
Is
college
he,
job,
is he
I think.
at Boston
Is he at Bama?
College? No. I think he's the coach of Boston College.
Senior analyst for the Ole Miss Rebels. Why not bring in for Dart a guy from Ole
Oh,
Miss?
my God. Why did I think he was the coach of Boston College? There's another guy that got the job. Bill O'Brien.
Yes.
Yes, Bill O'Brien's the coach there. Same Patriot tree. That'll do it. That's the 2025 NFL preview show. We will be wrong on a lot of these, but we had fun doing it. Yeah. We'll talk to you guys next week and enjoy the football.